Hey, 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 this is Audi Rob with Wide Open World Podcast, coming to you with the second half of the Aeon of Horus. Okay, this is the second half of it, and we're going to continue on from where we picked up off the last show here. And let me go ahead and get it set up, and away we go. Peace, love, and light to everyone out there.
Now, Crowley, in the latter part of the last century and the beginning of this, the 20th, claimed to have had many such indescribable contacts, but two were of the greatest importance in apparently redirecting his entire life and thus changing the face of modern magic for all who followed. And as astonishing as it may seem, it may be that almost a century ago, Crowley was given a revelation about things that are coming to pass, even as we speak here tonight. The first contact that Crowley relates was in April of 1904 in Cairo. Cairo, by the way, is Seleucid Arabic for Mars. Crowley tells us that he encountered an entity who he considered to be his, quote, holy guardian angel. This entity identified himself as Aiwas and proceeded to dictate to Crowley the so-called Book of the Law, or what would eventually become, to some, the canon of 20th century magical practice. By the time of Hitler's rise, most of pre-World War II European occult traditions were dominated by the magical system that Crowley painstakingly created. And Hitler himself was envious of Crowley's infamy as the most evil man in the world, as well as his magical prowess. Hitler said this in several volumes, including one called Hitler Speaks. Crowley claims that his second otherworldly encounter, which resulted...
Did y'all see that? Now, let's go back at that again. That's deep. This symbol right here is deep. Let's look at this symbol right here. This symbol, man, you see how it has the symbol up here, and then you have the swastika symbol right here that everybody used to the Nazi, which we thought was negative, which really is not negative. And then you have the serpent here, which is about knowledge, because we used to thought that was negative, and it's not. It's all about knowledge. Then you got the Jewish star here. You got pyramid above, pyramid below, as above. So that's like a Merkaba. Man, this is now there is no religion higher than truth. Okay. There's no religion higher than truth. Right. Because truth is the highest. Truth is higher than religion. That's what I would say. So that's deep. Let's continue on.
That Crowley painstakingly created. And Hitler himself was envious of Crowley's infamy as the most evil man in the world, as well as his magical prowess. Hitler said this in several volumes, including one called Hitler Speaks. Crowley claims that his second otherworldly encounter, which resulted in an even more profound influence on his work in magic, occurred at Montauk, Long Island in New York in 1918. This entity introduced himself as Lamb, which Crowley was quick to point out meant pathmaker, pathfinder, in the Tibetan language. It is from this word that Lam-as of Tibet are so called. The lamb was also the ancient symbol for Ares, Mars, as well as the resurrected god, Tammuz, Osiris, Christ, etc. Rising from the ashes, Crowley drew an effigy of Lamb, which eerily represents the popular modern image of an alien some half a century later. Lamb told Crowley a story about Mars, all right, concerning a lotus flower, the three-petaled Pathfinder lander, perchance, symbolic of hyperdimensional physics, looking at a mountain peak which had sharp edges where something sits and shines like the sun on water. He said it was a seed waiting to be born. to be reborn, whose number is 97. Lamb then goes on to state, thou art to go this way, and speaks of a lightning flash of enlightenment, which in occult tradition is symbolic of Mars, the god of war and fire. The power behind these occult systems of philosophy, on which the various mystery schools have historically been based, lies in the beliefs of their practitioners, that they embody universal laws of nature, reflecting fundamental properties embedded in everything visible to human beings, including man himself. No one person, people, or race can thus lay just claim to own such laws, although many throughout history, such as Hitler, have made the attempt. Two exquisite but radically different examples of the encoding of such natural systems here on Earth are demonstrated by the Hebrew alphabet and by none other than the Great Pyramid of Giza, Egypt. So let me do this. The designers of these two similar but separately unique creations, in fact, apparently have encoded the same internal systems within each, an unfolding mathematical or architectural pattern communicating information proposed by their designers to be streaming from higher dimensions, i.e. a hyperdimensional physics, into our familiar three-dimensional reality. Radically different schematic blueprints represented by widely divergent physical systems here on Earth for, in essence, preserving identical yet extremely ancient views of the origin and structure of the universe. One aspect of war on Earth may well be the battle to become heir to all aspects of this ancient, crucial knowledge of reality and keep the other guy from finding out. Those in power, apparently on rediscovering this ancient knowledge preserved from when and where, repeatedly make apparent conscious decisions to keep it for themselves. They repeatedly set up institutions recognized as priesthoods, Sumer, Babylon, Egypt, in order to dole out crumbs from this priceless storehouse to all the rest of us, while they do their level best to keep the real secret doctrines totally away. And the reasons are not always selfish. At least, it doesn't seem to always start out that way. Usually it comes about because one of those with this special information cannot always freely share what one knows because of the real threat of being persecuted during one of those myriad inquisitions that roll over the planet from time to time to time. However, even when it becomes safe to reveal such knowledge without fear of persecution, as when democracies eventually arise, the withholding of such knowledge by a chosen few seems to become the prime objective for reasons based on arrogance, patriarchy, and discrimination by the chosen. There is also a belief within the mystery schools themselves that true understanding and evolution can only come about through proper cultivation and innate revelation brought about by symbolism and a consistent array of subtle images and themes. This process is supposed to enable the individual to reveal the bigger picture from within. It appears that this methodology for revealing long secret information is currently taking place at many levels in society, imperiled by those with the foregoing view. Thus, simultaneous with the controllers, there may also exist a few benevolent efforts, truly benevolent efforts, to leak images and paint pictures in a way that those with eyes will see. Is this possibly why we're getting this incredible information about Mars out of JPL, even as they lie at all these press conferences? I mean, I would like to think so. I would really like to think that there is a counterforce, that we've got allies up there, and whatever their long-term agenda, their short-term agenda appears to be to give us the tools to fight back, to face lies with truth.
Conclusion, NASA's occult empire. It gets deeper. NASA, an ancient Hebrew word meaning to lift up to heaven.
President John F. Kennedy was not a Freemason,
You know that?
and after only 4 months in office, he openly spoke out against secret societies. Yet
See,
NASA basked in the warmth of his ardent enthusiasm for space exploration right up until November 12, 1963, when he ordered Freemason mission director James Webb to initiate NASA plans for a joint United States-Soviet lunar exploration initiative. From that point, the occult brotherhoods closed ranks against Kennedy. And faithful to their oaths of secrecy, the traitor was ritually sacrificed in the open-air Masonic temple, Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas, November 22, 1963. Immediately following Kennedy's assassination, Congressman Albert Thomas, Freemason protege of Lyndon Johnson, who controlled NASA's funding, shared a knowing wink with Lyndon Johnson aboard Air Force One that NASA's occult secrets were saved. Since its inception, NASA had become the occult empire of not only the Masons but of Hitler's SS and Crowley's magicians. These ritual elitists had literally stolen the entire space program for themselves from the rest of all mankind.
wow.
They had apparently been discreetly incubating for many years, even before NASA, with Brookings Institution insiders to foment political excuses to keep key
Whoa.
NASA discoveries carefully hidden from the general public.
So check this out. So they was pretty much all together already. They had already been together in cahoots on how they were going to do this program already before they came out as NASA. They knew what they were going to do. So the control runs deep. That is wild.
The space agency appears to have been nothing less than a massive technological effort to validate their hermetic visions of literally accessing the home of Osiris on the surface of the moon and beyond,
See?
to which they and they alone deserved sole access. Space is destined to remain the exclusive possession of only those with the proper bloodlines and perspectives. All three of these secret societies retain at their core a deep obsession with the gods and magic of ancient Egypt.
That's deep. So magic is real.
Thus, it should not be surprising to discover that the sole individual responsible for selection of the Apollo landing sites was himself an Egyptian. Dr. Farouk El-Baz was born in Cairo, Egypt, and educated in the United States. He was a geologist who taught in Germany and the United States before becoming involved with NASA's space program in 1967, when he applied for a position at Belcom, the corporation handling communication systems for the Apollo program. But after El-Baz came on board, Belcom's job description underwent a significant change. They were now suddenly in charge of selecting the actual landing sites for the Apollo program. In fact, El-Baz was solely in charge of the site selection process. El-Baz became the guy who picked all of the landing sites, controlled the dissemination and analysis of all the photography, and directly oversaw the astronauts' geological training, preparing them for what they would actually observe on the lunar surface. In short, he was the most powerful single individual in the American space program. And it just so happens that El-Baz's father was an expert in the ancient Egyptian stellar religions of Isis and Osiris. So basically you have the son of an expert on the Osiris cults picking the landing sites where all the occult stellar alignments take place. All of the NASA landing site selection meetings were private. All of their meetings were classified, and none of their paperwork has been declassified. Now, lest there be any lingering doubts about NASA's occult devotion to ancient Egypt, consider the name of its pending 2016 robotic asteroid landing mission, OSIRIS-REx.
When I was talking with the gentleman from Belcom, and we were discussing the lie, everything he was telling me was different from what we were being told was the truth. And at one point I asked him, I said, man, you guys, you lied about a lot, didn't you? And instantly he said, no, we didn't lie about certain things. We lied about everything. None of it was true.
Wow. None of it was true. Mm.
Understand that those occult practitioners who already partially rule over nations and worldly governments have pretensions to absolute omnipotent domination. This is the only thing which they have not yet achieved. Unless there be any lingering doubts about the conspiratorial nature of Freemasonry, consider this quote from 33rd degree Freemason General Albert Pike, taken from his Masonic lexicon book, Morals and Dogma. Masonry, like all the religions, all the mysteries, hermeticism, and alchemy, conceals its secrets from all except the adepts and sages, or the elect, and uses false explanations and misinterpretations of its symbols to mislead those who deserve only to be misled, to conceal the truth which it calls light from them, and to draw them away from it. Truth is not for those who are unworthy or unable to receive it, or would pervert it. The truth must be kept secret, and the masses need a teaching proportioned to their imperfect reason. Every man's conception of God must be proportioned to his mental cultivation and intellectual powers and moral excellence. God is, as man conceives him, the reflected image of man himself.
Well, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm meant to bring in that other part because this is the second part to this on the movie. It's like a part 3, so we're gonna actually have 4 parts of this. But this right here was just another short part just to finish off that first one. Then we'll start on the second one too. Yeah, but this is more information to give y'all, man. This is deep. Isn't this deep? Man, this is crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that right there because I don't want it to go on too far in here with this music. And let me see if I can cut it right there. We're good. Anyway, but I'm glad you guys checked it out. Um, I got more and more of all that information. This stuff is, like I said, our world. We're based is based on magic. We have a magical world. Stuff that we used to see on TV that we saw that we were trained to look at that as science fiction. We were trained to look at that as make believe because of what we were taught to see it as in the 3D realm of what we see. See, so now there's other realms that we just do not see. We just don't. We're not into that light spectrum yet. Also, too, as we shift into the fifth dimension, we will slowly start to see this change of light. As we see the change of light in our skies now, you see cloud formations you have never seen before. Yes, and the way the light's hitting it from different angles, from way over here, you see the sun way over here, then you see this light formation over here from this other cloud, and how it wraps around with another light that you don't see. How is it looking so bright here with this other light, and how that's illuminated over here? See, it's some strange stuff going, and y'all look up, you'll see for yourself. But this is an exciting time. This is the time that we have signed up for. This is the shift. I'm excited with the shift. I've been eating light. I've been eating light. There's no meat in my system. It's like I'm eating light, and I'm feeling like the energy is like coming just in the atmosphere. I'm feeling it like pulling it out the atmosphere. It's just feel good. Um, I like it. Anyway, um, the atmosphere of the breathing is like the energy is there. I'm like, whoa, whoa. Because this is at one point we're supposed to be able to heal our bodies ourselves. Yeah, Big Pharma don't want us to learn that yet. He wants to stay. Y'all don't need to learn that yet. We want that money. Oh yeah, we want that money, just like that church. Oh, we want that money. Oh yeah, that's about another thing too. Y'all get ready for them churches to close. I know those pastors who are wisely who wisely use that little tax break that you guys get. Don't have to pay no taxes, and you used it wisely, even though some of y'all woke up and just didn't say anything because y'all saw what they did to Bishop Carter Pearson. Yeah, the old rotten devil church. Yeah, that's what y'all did. Well, yeah, well, that's y'all been doing for centuries, is killing people, tearing them down whenever they come out with something totally new that y'all don't understand. Then later found out, hey, what they were right. They were what they were talking about was right. Here's the proof right here. Oh my goodness! And we don't kill the person. We don't talk about this person. We don't strip them down to everything, and we took all his joy away from this person and pretty much killed the person or unalived the person, as they say. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, they were right. What are we going to do now? We're going to go back and honor them. Oh, we got to go back and honor them now. So now you got to go back and honor this person. So now that's what you guys have been doing all along. This other stuff. See, the church to do that. That's just the government to do that. Government, church, all together. But anyway, so yeah, so the ones that were wise, who were wise enough to put the money away, because when them church doors is closed, when they start, that's the last pope we got. It's like it's gonna be the end of all religions. I'm gonna put a padlock on them doors. That money going somewhere else, y'all. Those pastors better have something else to fall back on, because it's coming. I see it. Yeah, and he's gonna unleash some of that stuff in that Vatican and let y'all know that they got all the truth right there at the Vatican. So, so what you gonna do? You gonna just say that the Vatican was lying, or the truth is lying, or I don't know how y'all gonna say it, but it's just gonna be one of those situations that y'all gonna have to sit back and just realize that everything that you were taught was a lie. Everything you were taught was a lie. You have to go back and look at it, decipher it, go back, break it down, go all the way back. But it's happening. It's happening. This is a good time. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I signed up to be at this time to see the shift, to see everything that that was told to us a lie, that was going to be showed to us, and the truth. But then to see the people who didn't believe you, and to see them looking at the truth right before their eyes and seeing their reaction and see what they're gonna say. How you feel? Let me see how you feeling over there. You all right? Truth hurts. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, yeah. Y'all ain't gonna be able to handle. Some people ain't gonna be able to handle the truth. Yeah. I'm just curious about them church folk, how they gonna handle the truth. That's gonna be crazy. I'm like, I told y'all. Oh yeah, like I say again, all these offerings and rituals that you do is not required to reach the kingdom of heaven. Jesus said, you want to reach the kingdom of heaven, you must go within. Go within. Yeah. So y'all keep going without out there with that fake God, the sky. It's not the divine creator. Y'all think it's the same God from the Old Testament to the New Testament that's being talked about. That's not true either. That's Enlil. Y'all talking about Enlil. Chose Enlil's version in that garden. Yep. And he was Satan, Lord of Eden. Enlil was. He was Satan, the Lord of Eden. Then when he found out his brother down in gave him the knowledge, Enki, he got mad and called his brother Enki the devil. You're devil. Why'd you give them the information? They don't need to know this information. Now they got clothes on, looking like civilians. See, he was always killing the humans back then. Every time humans got, in Leo couldn't sleep. It was too much noise. And I kept thinking, what humans back then used to make noise at all times of night? They was always partying. I sound like some black folks. So he was always killing us black folks back then. That's what he was doing. Because we were the ones, we were the ones that were loud late at night, still partying. That's a lot of energy. We didn't sleep like that. I don't know what it was. But anyway, yeah, that was written in those tablets, emerald tablets. Something those, but he used to do that. So that was crazy. But anyway, he didn't. He had it in for us. He didn't have it. Inky kind of looked out for us a little bit more than what Enlil did. So, but look what the council chose. They chose Enlil's side of the story. Yes, because they wanted to be God. That old fake ass Council of Nicaea. And then they built it in seminary so they could inseminate y'all to go out and inseminate the rest of the world. All that shit over with now. Yep. Y'all could inseminate this doggone new world order that's about to come up y'all. But in the next 4 years, you got 4 years. I already told y'all what happened. Did you guys go back and do your little timeline with JD Vance? Did you do that? You see where when the Pope died, he went to visit him right when the Pope died, and you see what has happened since the Pope has died and how everything is taking place. And then how he's just like out of the picture right now. He's quiet. He's quiet for a purpose. The agenda, yeah, it's deep. So yeah, he got permission to unleash havoc across America, and that's what's happening right now. Then while everybody's out there doing their little line dance, where the fans at, watching Diddy going up and down. That's an emotional grab right there. Energy harvesting, emotional harvesting. They just pulling it out the atmosphere, or they just put it in the media. It just got y'all swaying back and forth. You're guilty. You're not guilty. You're guilty again. You're not guilty again. You're going to keep y'all going back and forth. But in the meantime, they got policies in place that you will not feel them right now because you're sleeping. But when they come back around next year, here we go. You can call that tribulation. When you don't get no more stuff that you used to get as easily as you get it now, you won't be able to get it no more like that. Food, all kind of stuff. So, there's got to be some other things that's going to happen in the meantime, because there's going to be a disperse of money. I see a disperse of money, but I don't know in which way, but it's going to be a disperse. And it's going to be a disperse on a certain culture. Check. Anyway, until next time, I'm coming back with that other piece of Aeon of Horus, and we'll get that going. That's going to be part 3. Okay? Love, peace, and light to everyone. And we're going to go ahead and end it right here.
Blast wide open, woke sessions. Mind, body, soul, no second guessing. Spilling truths, no sugarcoat dressing. Wisdom hunting, cash and knowledge blessing. Hands to the streets, wide open the road. Eyes on the prize, ain't no time for jokes, lies and eyes. These chains we roll, truth on the mic, destiny and vote. Hands to the streets.